And this team from the Big Umbrella Foundation just rolled into town in the middle of the CBD in Kemp. They'd driven from Melbourne, over 1,000 kilometres away, with nothing but a heart and a mission to help. They happened to run across a community member who said, "You need to go down to Gladstone and help the Lower Macleay." No media, no fuss, just 4 people showing up to serve 1,400 meals in just over 4 days. No questions asked, just there to help out. And from 11 in the morning to 6 at night, they were there every day at Macleay Valley Rural Supplies. They were staying an hour away, so that added to the length of the day, and they slaved over hot stoves and provided our community with food. They gave out pantry staples, they gave out clothes, they gave out hugs, free hugs. It was just a moment to stop and to take a break and to know that there was someone there with you. We have a very, very proud community who doesn't often ask for help, and our farmers, some of them hadn't had a hot meal. One farmer actually hadn't had a hot meal in 7 days, and he verbalised that he was ready to give up. And he thought, I thought no one cared, and then I saw this place. It wasn't just about the food, it was about the care, the dignity, and my community. And when the Big Umbrella got there, they bought all the produce locally. It was 100% to support our community. Every dollar that's spent stayed right here in our region. They were supported ably by the Adventist Community Services, and Ellie, Nick and your team. You delivered 150 meals to remote farms where I was hearing that some of the farmers couldn't get out off their farm because they had so many chores to look after their cattle and to secure their homes. And the team from the Adventist Community Services, they delivered the meals out door to door. I mean, sometimes it's a few hundred metres between each driveway and then a few hundred metres up the driveway, so that is such a big ask. You know, the Big Umbrella, they've been doing it for over a decade. There's no government funding. There's no formal accreditation processes that they can do. It's just a team of wonderful, self-funded and caring people. And I think we need to see a little bit of change in this space. There's no formal national system for emergency food relief. You know, they rely, or the community relies on good people turning up. And, you know, obviously mostly it's the bigger charities that get the government support, but they're not always the ones on the ground. In the mud, feeding people, sitting beside them in a crisis and just taking a moment out to hold their hand and say good day. You know, I think we need to make sure we have access to a system of funding for people delivering relief that's on the ground, and it should be spread between the bigger charities as well as some of the smaller ones. Listen, we've got so many people to talk about in this crisis and within this scenario. You've got 4 people who travelled over 1,000 kilometres just to rock up in the middle of a CBD to say, no, can you actually go downriver? Can you go to a different town and can you serve them down there? You know, they were like, well, what do we do? And I said, oh, well, if you go and see Andrew and Loretta at Macleay Valley Rural Supplies in Gladstone, they'll give you a PowerPoint. And then if you set up there, they have really helped you out throughout the floods and they stayed open. And you know, to the team from the Big Umbrella, they then sourced local supplies from James Deeth at Gladstone Butchery, Mary Harvey at Krusty's Bakery, Sambo from Elbow Butchery, Gladstone Foodworks and Kemp's IGA. The Big Umbrella, the team of Rick Maher, Stephanie Pereira and Tilly Douglas, who actually came to our aid after just landing in the country 2 weeks before, just you know, on her overseas trip, her holiday, her working holiday, she decided to just jump in a van and drive over 1,000 kilometres to come and help the community of Kempsey. You know, they touched me so much. They were capably led by Justin Dickinson, and like this group, it's the heart. It's the caring, it's the absolute epitome of what's good about this country. To those 4 who cared so much for our community that was hurting, who came from across the country to help, your hearts are huge. They're bigger than an amount of tears that were shed when we had to say goodbye. It was meaningful, it was purposeful, and it was heartfelt. And I cannot from the bottom of my heart say anything other than thank you to the Big Umbrella from Melbourne.